It feels good to be here again and having a conversation with you. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, where we give you an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime in a day from wherever it is that you're watching us from. We want to say a big thank you to you. And yes, follow us across social media platforms, YouTube and Facebook at Eagles 102 or Eagles FM Abuja, right? Follow across social media platforms at Eagles FM Abuja. Yet again, we're going to be talking about something that not a lot of people, take mindful of, and that will be the place of first aid at work, right? You hear about first aid here and there, but you've never ever thought about the fact that you could be a first aid person, right, to save a life, even if that's all you do. It is called the very first, medication, to saving human life. My name is Uduak Daniel.
And I am Omoife Peace Osemere. We're going to be having this conversation with Mr. Francis Ato Wale. He joins us live via telephone this morning. He is a town planner, a realtor, first aider, healthcare assistant, and entrepreneur. Mr. Francis, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, it feels good to have you on the Prog Show this morning. I mean, there has been quite a lot of misconceptions and some, will I call it thoughtlessness or ignorance that has spread, when it comes to matters that concern first aid. And you having a wealth of experience. I mean, you're a town planner, you're a realtor, you're a first aider, you're a healthcare assistant as well as an entrepreneur. How would you define or tell us about what first aid is to a layman who's listening right now?
Very well. Thank you very much for that question.
Right.
For the layman or to the layman, first aid is the immediate care. Mark my word. Immediate care or assistance given to someone who is injured or suddenly becomes ill. Is what first aid is. The first assistance you give to somebody who needs medical care. That is what it is.
All right, so it is
and the purpose,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
go
yes.
ahead.
And the purpose of this assistance is number one, to preserve life.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is to prevent the condition from getting worse. And number three is to promote quick recovery.
All right, so what would be the basic principles of first aid?
The basic principles of first aid, just as I have analyzed in my definition, the basic principle is number one, to preserve life, preservation of life, ensure the person's airways, breathing, and circulation are maintained. That is promote the life. The second principle is to prevent further harm. That is promoting the condition of prevent steps to prevent condition worse, such as somebody needs that somebody got injured at the place of work. You need to stop the bleeding. For example, somebody has a broken limb or is injured. The person is immobilized that limb, because if a broken limb is allowed to be moving, there's a movement in the broken limb. It will inflict further pain to that person. So the idea is for you to immobilize that injured limb. And the third principle of first aid is to promote quick recovery. Provide care to the health person to recover, such as applying dressing or cleansing the injured limb, and by providing external material just to immobilize it so that the person will not recover.
So let me ask you: is first aid generic, or is it constrained to just a certain group of people? I mean, because when we hear first aiders, it's sounding like it's a group of people that should know how to, administer first aid. So is it generic, or is it just for a group of people?
First aid from the word is generic. It is general. But we have people who are trained to administer first aid. Because it is not all who want to administer first aid eventually administer first aid. Instead of them becoming first aiders, they become first killers. Because they are not skilled to give first aid. Am I communicating?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, you are.
Now, for first aiders, because we have people who are first aiders, when you say this person is a first aider, it means that this person has been trained in the act of giving first aid.
Right.
So, he can be called a first aider.
Okay. All right, Mr. Francis, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spelling that out. I mean, so that the listener out there would know that every first aider must undergo some sort of training, all right, so that we don't get things, mixed up. But what is first aid for employees? This is one thing that is not too common in most workspaces, especially in this part of the world.
Yeah, first aid for employees, because the topic actually we are dealing with first aid at work. So first aid for employees refers to the immediate care, okay, the immediate care or attention provided to workers who experience an injury or suddenly became ill at workplace. The primary goals is still the goal of first aid, the basic principle of first aid. So first aid for employees refers to the immediate care provided to workers who experience an injury or illness at place of work.
Okay, so
employees often ensure. Now, in the working environment, we have employers and we have employees.
Right.
So it behoves of every employer to have trained first aiders. They should be available at place of work. That's why in most of these very big companies, blue chip companies, multinationals, they have HSE departments. So they have trained first aiders to man their first aid department. They provide first aid kits that should be accessible to everyone.
Okay.
And they also have emergency procedures as established by the company and the protocols.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Francis, as a first aider and healthcare assistant that you are, would you suggest that we have stricter laws or penalties for organizations or even workspaces where there are no first aiders? What you see in most of these organizations, no pun intended, will be just the first aid box, kit.
In fact, the world standard, according to WHO, World Health Organization for first aid at work, you see, they emphasize the importance of first aid in the workplace, particularly in preventing the transmission of blood infections like HIV, hepatitis. And the key principles are: number one, precautions. You should have personal protective equipment. You should have a way of safe handling of sharp objects in companies. So it is a law. In fact, it is compulsory that every workplace must have a first aid department or a first aid box and a first aid kit, so that they will be able to attend to medical emergencies at place of work. So it is even a law in Nigeria.
Okay.
Even in schools, in public places, it is a law.
All right. But unfortunately, there seems to be so much impunity in this part of the world, probably because there is no proper monitoring, and evaluation at the end of the day.
Exactly. That is why the public enlightenment campaign, education, like this one that your organization has decided to give me a platform to be able to make this campaign globally.
All right.
I am not taking this opportunity for granted.
Right.
You are doing very well.
Well, walk us through the ABCs in first aid, because many a time when we see persons in distress, in this part of the world, yes, Nigeria precisely, is that people are more concerned about taking out their phones to video cover rather than looking into what could be the immediate remedy. So walk us through the ABCs in first aid.
Now, when we talk of ABC in first aid, let me stand on that premise that during an accident scene, you see people, the first thing they do is to bring out their phone, to start videoing instead of attending to the person who is injured. The ABC in first aid, number one, is you must ensure the airway of the person or the casualty is open. It must be breathing. The number two is breath. You check if the person is breathing normally and providing assistance if necessary. Because we can have a casualty who is conscious, who is unconscious and is breathing. Unconscious and is breathing. We can have a casualty that is unconscious and is not breathing. So there's a different approach to this. For somebody who is unconscious and is breathing, you don't need to perform CPR. That is cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Right.
But the use of AED or to get defibrillation, you don't need to use it. But for somebody who is unconscious and is not breathing, what you need to do is to have somebody there who at that performing CPR. Now, I'm not sure if you get my analogy of the ABC first.
Yes,
Well,
please.
we did. But the line is a
Reception is
bit.
quite
Yeah, the
poor.
reception is quite poor. If you can move just a little bit so we can hear you better. Yeah.
All right, can you
This
hear
is
me now?
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect now. Yes.
Now, the general step, which could also be referred to as the ABC in first aid. The general step number one is for you who want to administer first aid to a casualty. You need to assess the situation. The situation, you check the thing for safety of yourself, of the person you want to render assistance to, for the passers-by or those who are standing by. You must ensure that the thing is clear. Now, the second thing is part of the assessment of the situation, you identify the nature of the injury or illness before you know the right application. And you also determine the number of people involved. After you have done that, after you have assessed the situation, the second thing you do is to call for help. You could do that yourself, or you beckon on somebody or this bystanders to assist you to call. In Nigeria, we say 112. In Lagos State, is 767 because sometimes response is localized. So for Lagos, that I'm speaking from now, we call 767 or 112. I don't know what the number is in Africa.
Okay.
Then you provide necessary information such as location and condition. The third thing is you provide care. You follow established first aid techniques for specific condition. That is why we said a first aider must be trained. You prioritize life-threatening injuries. For example, in a country, we have an accident, multiple kind of accidents. We have somebody bleeding, we have somebody who has a cardiac arrest, we have somebody who has a burn or scar. Who will you attend to first? You must prioritize life-threatening injuries.
All right.
The first person you attend to is the person bleeding. Profusely, maybe the bleeding is so much. But if it is just a minor bleeding, then you must go to the person that has a cardiac arrest to perform CPR.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
Mr. Francis.
are we together?
Yes, please.
All right. Then the fourth step is you must stabilize and monitor your casualty.
Okay.
You must document and report because you are just a first aider. By the time medical professionals come, you need to give them a report and document what you have done. the steps you have taken so far. So that is just the basis, the APC in first aid.
Well, it does seem as though the ABCs and first aid also has a bit of 10 rules of first aid, which of course you've been able to enumerate some. You said stay calm, assess the situation, call for help, provide care, prioritize life-threatening injuries, right? Use proper techniques is what you said. Maintain hygiene. Document incidents, right? Seek medical help, and of course, make sure that there is a follow-up.
Right.
I mean, it's been a great conversation right there with you, and we really appreciate you. I mean, our guest, who is in the person of
Ato Francis Wale, he is a town planner, a realtor, first aider, healthcare assistant, and entrepreneur, and has been able to provide us with valuable insight on the importance of first aid, from understanding the basics of first aid to knowing the steps and the rules to follow. Ato Francis Wale has empowered us to take action and make a difference in our communities and workspaces. All right. Thank you very much, Ato Francis Wale. All right,
Thank you very much for having me to all the dreams I have done.
Okay. Is there a phone number you can share with us? I mean, for people who would like to, make more inquiries, or do you take it upon yourself to offer free training for, intending first aiders?
Exactly. I have my phone numbers. Can I call it?
Yes, please.
right
070
070
71
71
93
93
89
89
28.
28. All right, call that number again.
Zero-
Because somebody is there who's listening
Zero-
and wants to be a part of this one, wants to know you, wants to get to know how to do these things so we can sanitize our society already. All right, the number is what?
070 71 9
No, don't rush it. 070
71
71
93
93
89
89
28.
28. Well, it's been a pleasure having a conversation with you, and thank you for the expose, and of course, sensitization not be enough, as we will continue to engage you in the coming days, because if we can sanitize our community, we can sanitize the society. If we can sanitize the society, we can sanitize Nigeria. And if we can sanitize, it means that we're already permeating into the membrane, the minds of people, to change, their mindset, when they confront themselves with persons who are in need or in need of help, assistance,
right.
especially with accidents, fire incidents, and all of that. They know what to do. Thank you for this empowerment.
Thank you very much for having me. Good work, and I didn't get the second. What?
Ife.
Thank you very much for having me, and I will be glad to be here anytime you call on me.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one then. Right. And this is where we call it a close. I mean, it's been a great conversation. What can we say, Efe? I mean, we are beginning to move away from the mentality of when there's somebody's in dire need, we remove phones and all of that. You should learn a skill. It's a skill, actually.
Absolutely.
First aid is a skill. So learn it, contact him right now, and now that you can, and of course, he'll also put you through as to whether or not there are other outlets right here in Abuja that you can also go get this training. Saving life is everybody's business, is your business, is my business, and we must endeavor to do our bit.
I mean, it gladdens my heart that we now have well-meaning Nigerians who have been in existence all the while anyways. I think they are now taking the very, very bold step of having very, very intentional conversations as to how to change the narrative right here in Nigeria. And we are optimistic that the days ahead, things are definitely going to get better, not just for us as a people, but as a nation. And we hope that this would also, impact the continent that we actually find ourselves in, that is Africa. My name is Omoefe Peace Osemere.